Now, is the gingerbread trend gonna be back this year? I think it is. I feel like everybody is still loving the gingerbread. I know I like it. One of the items I found at Dollar Tree was this white crock. It was in the Dollar Tree Plus section and it was $5. I'm gonna be using it for this next DIY. Now, to create the perfect gingerbread color, I found this new spray paint, and this is the color that I have been waiting for. You can pick it up at Home Depot. It's by the brand Behr, and it's called New Terracotta. I have been looking for a spray paint that is the perfect terracotta color, and I think this is it. I'll also link it for you down below, but I'm gonna be using this spray paint. I'm gonna do a coat on the bottom. I'll flip it over and do a coat on the top. This spray paint looks like I painted it. It's so good. I hope you guys can find it. After the spray paint is completely dry, I wanted to try to recreate this crock I saw on Pottery Barn's website. Now, if you remember last year, whenever I was trying to recreate the look of gingerbread, I would use white puff paint that you can get at most craft stores. So I'm gonna be doing that same technique with my crock because I feel like it gives you that nice white raised look and it has really concentrated color. Now with gingerbread, you just wanna try to create a pattern. And if you're nervous that you don't know if you can make a certain pattern, try to go with something really easy. That's what I do. So I started by creating swoops along the bottom, and then I'm just gonna keep adding in elements. It doesn't have to be hard. You can add in dots. Another thing I like to do is add in hearts. Those are pretty easy to create, and then just adding in additional lines. Keep looking at it. You can really make it look fancy by just adding dots, but putting them in a triangle. I know it sounds simple, but this doesn't have to be really elaborate. Keep adding elements until you're happy with it. Let it dry overnight, and then you can add in your favorite utensils. For this DIY, you're gonna need clear ornaments. I'm gonna be using smaller ornaments, and when I'm doing this technique, I like to do an extra just in case I mess up. So I'm gonna actually be doing 4, but I probably only need 3. First, we're gonna fill our ornaments with the color we want them to be inside. You can use any color. I'm gonna be using a blue, and I went with a Dollar Tree paint pour paint. The reason I did that was because this paint is a little bit more runny. It's gonna do a great job of coating the inside of your ornament. So place the paint inside, move it around so that it's completely covered. Then you're going to figure out a way to place it upside down and let it dry. Now, if for some reason too much of the paint comes out, you can always do an additional coat, because I will say a lot of this paint will run out. Now you wanna let this dry, and then we're going to move on to the next step. We're gonna be adding a marble element to the outside. Now you guys have seen me do this DIY before on several different projects, but I've never done it on ornaments. So I'm going to take a tub of water, any tub will work, and you can use any spray paint you like, any color. I went with a gold because I wanted it to be more Christmas colors, and I'm going to do a couple of sprays on the top of the water. Then what you're going to do is you're gonna take your ornament and dip it into the water. Whatever the spray paint looks like on the water is going to be what transfers to your ornament. So if you want it to be thinner or a line, just go with that. Now, once you pull your ornament out of the water, you may want to add additional paint. Just keep dipping it into the water till you're happy with it. And you're going to repeat these steps, clearing your water and spraying more of the spray paint for each of your ornaments. Now for the top pieces of these ornaments, I used a little bit of a copper rub and buff, and I'll place that on with a foam brush. Once your ornaments are completely dry, you can put the tops onto these ornaments. Now, after I put the tops on, I realized that the top pieces didn't really match my marble, so I did go in with another rub and buff color that I felt like matched a little bit better. Now, how are we going to hang these ornaments? Well, I thought it would be really cool to create a box structure. I love to scroll high-end sites and see how I can recreate items for less. When I was on Anthropologie's site, I saw this box and I thought, this is so cool. I love the way they're displaying the ornaments. I figured let's try to recreate it with Dollar Tree items. So you're gonna need 3 of the Dollar Tree wood boxes. I'm gonna start by gluing these together with a combination of E6000 and hot glue. You want to put all of your boxes together and make sure that they stand up straight. Next, I'm going to stain this piece with a medium tone stain. You can use any color you like. You could also paint this if you wanted. So I'm gonna brush on the stain with a foam brush and I'm gonna remove off the excess with a paper towel. Now I did buy some additional wood pieces off of Amazon. I will link them for you down below. I'm gonna be using 8 of these wood applique pieces, so I need to stain these the same color as the box. So I'll do it the same way, put it on with a foam brush and wipe it off with a paper towel. Now, after I stain anything, before I glue it together, I like to let it sit and dry completely. Once it's dry, you can come back and I'm gonna be using E6000 in the corners and then I'll just place the applique on top. Let this dry until the E6000 is completely set. Now with my ornaments, I did want to hang these from this wood box. So to do that, I just put on a little bit of twine through the top of the ornament. I'm gonna tie them so I only have about 1 inch from the knot to the top of the ornament. And I'm gonna repeat this for the other 2 ornaments. I'll cut off the excess string. I'll place some hot glue on the top of the knot and place it in the very center of the box. And I'll repeat these steps for the other 2 ornaments. Now I know it's not an exact dupe, but I think it looks gorgeous, especially sitting out with all of my blue decor. Let's try to create some bells. At Dollar Tree, you're going to need to pick up some of their metal bowls. They come in 3 different sizes, so I went ahead and got 2 of each of the sizes. You're also going to need to pick up some shower rings. Now, to start this project, on 3 of my bowls, I added E6000 and hot glue. And then I'm gonna place the matching bowl on top until it dries. I'm also going to be adding on my shower rings. Now, you could try to measure these out, but I have found that if I just snap them in half, they usually just break down the middle. So I'm gonna take 3 of the shower rings and just snap them in half. And then I'll add them to the top of the bowls with some hot glue. I wanted to spray paint these before I moved on with this project. I'm gonna be using a metallic gold spray paint to spray paint both sides of the metal bowls. I did have one of the shower rings that popped off, no big deal. I'm just gonna spray paint that and I'll glue it on later. Now the next step here is to make these look more like antique bells. I think the best way to do that is to add rub and buff. So I got out 3 different rub and buff colors that I had. Wasn't really sure what I was gonna go with, but using my foam brush, I started by applying one of the colors to the bells. Now, when you're doing this, don't feel like you have to completely cover it. Honestly, you want that existing gold to show through. So just add a little bit of that rub and buff color. I did this with all 3 of the colors, kind of mixing and matching. If I felt like I needed more rub and buff, I would add that on. From here, you want to let this completely dry. The next step, we needed to add some black to the bottom to create the look of bells. So I just used some black acrylic paint. I think the easiest way to do this is just to hold your bowl and you're gonna use a paintbrush, draw a circle, and then you're gonna draw a straight line down. You're gonna repeat this and make 4 on each of the bells. And I'll do this to all the bells. here's how these turned out. I think they look so adorable, perfect for the holidays. Hey guys, I'm Liz and you're watching my second DIY channel where I post daily DIY videos. You may be familiar with my main channel, Liz Fenwick DIY, but I'm glad that you found me over here on my second channel. Make sure that you're subscribed so you just get notified every day when I post our daily DIY video.